the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll open up the for public input. Anybody's got anything?
Hi. Hi, everybody. My name is Amanda Conkling. I live on Fair Street, and I'm here today to ask for the board's approval to host Walton Chalk Art Day for the third year in a row. That will be held the Saturday before the fair. That is August 9th, I believe, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. I already have permission from the fair board, and they are happy to close down that entrance. So basically, I just need somebody to come down and block off the end of the street during that time. They're happy to have all of the fair traffic go in the main entrance, and I just need permission to do it again this year.
Make a motion that we close the street down for truck art.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Thanks, guys.
Butch, do you need this for chalk art day?
Yeah, probably.
I didn't get an email with it.
You got me with it.
Send me some chalk too.
I just had one thing that I wanted to ask about. So I've been a resident on Fair Street for the last 5 years. I have 2 small children, one on the way in November, and I'm not asking to get anything done out of this. I just wanted to see what it would look like and what you guys think. Since I've lived there over the past 5 years, traffic goes so fast in and out of the fairgrounds. People, I know that it's in the village, I know that the speed limit's 30. Would there ever be a way to reduce speed on Fair Street or put up a sign that says, kids are playing? My kids don't necessarily play in the street, but we do go down to the fairgrounds. Now that the summer months are here, people are utilizing the fairgrounds more, which I love. And I love that we're able to access it too. But when people leave the fairgrounds, they speed right up to 30. And I mean, the street is not that long. And the same when people are pulling into Fair Street, they're speeding right down into the fairgrounds. So I intend to continue living there with small children. I just wanted to know if a reduction of speed would ever be in the cards, or just a sign of, children at play, or slow down, or anything like that. I don't know if that would help, but that's just maybe something.
I mean, we could look at it. Honestly, it would have to be something we'd have to assess and see, go through the motions as far as what it would take to do that, for signage and such. I mean, that's a great. Would you like to take a push from here as far as how that will go?
You just have to do like a local law, and so you can do like children players. Like that.
I mean, it would be the assumption that any village that there's going to be children at play, so it's kind of.
Sure.
I mean, for people to be going that fast, I'm down there, but I mean, I don't think we'll be able to get something carried through that fast for this fair, but maybe those little signs that says children at play or something like that.
And like
Might be advantageous for this time around, and then we'll work on it going forward.
And not just for the fair, but just anybody using the fairgrounds. I mean, it is wild how fast people will just gun it out of the fairgrounds. And the stop sign is right there. So we are the only family with small children. There's only 2 houses on the street, but just for people to go in and out safely, I don't know if it matters or anything like that, but in the future, it doesn't have to be now. I just wanted to bring it up and see if that's something that could be done.
Actually, I do have a question. Maybe Jody or Butch could answer this one. What about a temporary restriction for a week long during Fair Week on that street? We reduced it to 15 miles an hour for just that week.
She's talking about year round. That's the problem. It's not fair.
Because it's
Fair week, there's no-
Fair week,
Yeah.
they can't drive down there anyway.
Oh,
They can only
okay.
drive
I misunderstood you then. Okay.
No, yeah. So
Okay.
all
Get
year,
back to you then. We'll
all year round. It's just, and I just see it more during the nicer months when people are going down there. And like I said, I love it. I love that the fairgrounds are available for everybody, but it is just.
You are right, I've noticed that too.
Right? Yeah, people are going, and they turn the corner to go down Fair Street, and it's like straight shot down to the fairgrounds. and our driveway borders the fairgrounds, and it's just crazy. So,
It might be like even a good place for a speed bump or something like that that slows them down.
That's what I was thinking, but I don't know how that.
a
be like
speed
in
bump,
the
yeah.
winter
Yeah,
time,
just a
though.
little something that,
Yeah, winter time,
Like
though.
going into the park or,
What
you know,
if they just
like
close
around
that one
here.
gate like they used to? Well, you gotta slow down.
Yeah, eventually they will.
Yeah,
all
they,
that
Fair and close one of their gates.
allows.
yeah,
You know, maybe the fair, we get to the fair, talk to them and close one of their gates off like they used to years ago.
did they used to keep it
They used to
one
keep-
side?
They used to keep one side closed, so you had to slow down to go in one entrance way to get in there instead of having both lanes open.
Yeah,
Military half pass.
So,
It's not a bad idea.
Okay,
At
so
least,
they
at
used
least
to-
for now, until something else more fun.
Yeah.
you just talk to them about it, I can ask.
Yeah, that's the fair, if they can put one gate up. Just gonna slow people down just so that they gotta go through one entrance to get into their property.
Yeah, and then, so then going forward with something like this, what could I expect, or, you know, is there anything to do, like, as far as signage goes? Again, people read signs, yeah, whatever, you know, they're gonna still do it, but maybe it would deter them a little bit.
I'll look into what we can do as far as making a local law or something of that nature to accommodate this request. And probably look at maybe some other streets too that would be advantageous to have this on as well.
Yeah.
But, if you don't mind, can I circle back with you on this, maybe within a couple weeks or a month, and then we can go from there?
Totally, yeah, you got a lot going
I think
Yeah.
at least temporarily, you can buy your own kind of just pop up A-frame type slow down kids replay kind of thing, and then that might, even if it's an incremental decrease, it might not be a bad idea.
on. Maybe one at the beginning of the road and then one at the end.
I would bet Todd and Judy would put it up for you too in the corner.
Yeah, right.
So you can get from both sides.
Alright, yeah, alright, thanks guys, appreciate it.
My name's Dana Baker, I'm a resident of Cherry Street. We're all aware, I believe, of what's been happening over there. And I am not a NIMBY kind of person, not in my backyard. I think Walton needs development, needs business development, but I think we need good development, and we need good corporate citizens. And right now, I believe my neighbor is not being a good corporate citizen. The most recent rainstorm, the water reached past my driveway, where you two were parked that morning. That's the first time that's happened. It's also flooded my entire yard, and my neighbor's yard is now in my yard because the silt has covered my yard. That work he's done on leveling and bringing in fill, which I had thought had been stopped by the state, but I understand maybe that he's gotten further permission to do that. My question is also with the 2-acre parking lot that's now going to be developed across the street from my house. I'm concerned about environmental impacts in that whole parcel. Is the hospital going to be required to put in a retention pond or drainage of some sort for a 2-acre impervious surface that's going to not only increase the water issues, but heat, reflecting off of cars, asphalt, whatever the surface is. I'm kind of curious how my neighbor has been able to do so much work without any input to the planning board, zoning, asking for building permits. Seems to me that it's kind of interesting that he feels, oh, not going to be a problem for me to get anything I want, and I'm just going to go ahead and do all this work anyways. So my question is, has the last administration had discussed that there were possibilities that a new drainage ditch was going to be installed? I've heard rumors of this. So I'm asking, has there been any further discussion about restoring drainage from Cherry and Village Street to Toy Brook or the swamp where it used to be? And if not, do the neighbors need to think about a class action lawsuit against him to restore the drainage? Because it's getting a little tiresome every time we get a heavy rainstorm for me to have to pump out my basement and spend a week with fans and dehumidifiers blowing, and then 2 weeks later, if we get another rainstorm, it's all over again. So I'm just kind of curious if there has been any movement, if there has been discussions, or where we stand, and when do we think something will happen with the planning board where we'll know what's happening. So those are my questions.
So, every day I'm further educated as far as the process in regards to what goes on with DEC and DEP, how they move forward on their projects and how they issue their permits and like that. So I'm constantly being re-educated on that. That being said, the board proposed a ditch to go in, I want to say 3 months ago, 2 months ago, something of that nature. I don't recall exactly.
That was your first.
And we proposed a ditch going, we had an idea. So following that, there was a bunch of red tape that came with that. A bunch of permits and stuff like that that we're trying to work right through. So right now, we're kind of in a little tiny but legal process, trying to figure out how to move forward and get this done. It is my utmost priority to make sure that this is taken care of, because the last thing I want to see is anybody's house flood or anybody's property get damaged. At the same time, I also I want to see both sides of the fence do well with this and not suffer the ramifications of one's actions or the other's actions. It goes both ways. So I'm trying to work it out and trying to find the neutral ground and trying to get this ditch in, and we're trying to get through all this legal matter. And once that's done, we'll see what way we're going to go with this. So that's the best answer I can give you right now. But I promise you, I'm working on it and trying to make it go forward so you guys don't have to deal with these consequences anymore.
I also heard back the previous mayor, they were going to run from Guild Avenue, they were gonna run us out to Maple Street. Is that still an option, or is that not even being considered now?
The hope is that the ditch that goes backwards and crossing towards the fairgrounds in that general direction would suffice to take care of the water situation. The other plan you're referencing was an alternative to not doing that, basically. So you don't need both, you need one or the other. You could that would require uphill pumping and then out, which is a lot more expensive. So
you're trying to go through the property of Frainer's and go down towards the fairgrounds, is that what?
more or less around the edge of it,
Around the edge of it.
basically where it was previously.
So is that village property, or is that his property?
It's
Because
some of both.
honestly, I don't,
It requires some of both.
So you're basically trying to reestablish the ditch that was there?
Not a ditch necessarily, but a drainage system, yes.
Okay.
and he has agreed to do that?
There's some red tape that's got to go through. We've got to get everything done, and I don't want to put any words in his mouth. But we hope that that'll be the resolution.
And if that's not the resolution, because I feel like there's going to be something's going to not happen.
Then we'll have to find an alternative way. And hopefully we can avoid having to do the expensive one.
And can I ask another question? I'm sorry.
I'm done.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All of the stuff he's bringing in loads and loads and loads of stuff. I mean, we hear bang, bang, bang constantly now. I mean, does he have permits to do that? How do we know what he's bringing in? Do you guys know what he's bringing in?
It's my understanding that he is checked by the DEC every single week on a Friday to make sure that the loads brought in are what they require for whatever he's doing. But I can ask him to provide us paperwork every Friday to prove that this is being done.
Yeah, I think that would be a good idea. And then also, my brain words just went.
It's okay.
Something else I had in mind.
We'll keep doing public input, and when it comes back to you, you come back with it.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question too. Does anybody know where all this fill is coming from?
That's what I
Is it contaminated or?
Well, it has to be inspected on both ends, where it comes from and where it goes.
Oh, okay.
So that's my understanding. However, I will work on getting the paperwork that he gets inspected on and see if I can get copies of that.
Because I wasn't really sure, and that just all of a sudden come to my mind that maybe all this stuff, the way soil and stuff is nowadays, it's hard to get rid of it, and that'd be a good place to dump it over there.
Right.
Of course, but we don't need anything contaminated either, as far as that goes.
And does he have to have, I really don't know the village laws per se, but does he have to have permits to do all the stuff he's doing over there? I mean, it really is beginning to look like a total junkyard.
He's moving dirt, so for that, it would fall under the DEC or Dick, you've done a lot of work on this one, maybe you can answer it. The DCDP has to get it permits through.
The only problem we have is if you're going in, water course, then goes to hydraulic engineer to approve that.
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
I said, there is a village code regarding the development,
Uh-huh.
but you have to have a hydraulic engineer. Like if I show you if you're going, but it only affects areas within the floodplain,
So he's not required to do that, or?
not in the village code.
Not the village level.
But when it does come time for construction, they'll have to go to the planning.
100%. Planning board, everything.
And then is there any regulations with all the, I don't know, vehicles and stuff he has all over there? That
So he's zoned industrial, which means he has industrial rights. Be no different if the roles were reversed and you were trying to do something, it would be the same thing. You have the right to do industry type actions, and where your house are is where residential. It's just the two spots are two bad spots. You know. But I know what I do know is I have seen the plans for down the road. Okay, as far as like where aside from the water, let's say the water situation is taken care of, there's no more water that's being drained. Down the road, it's not going to be where you're going to see all these industry action going on. They're going to put a fence, a barrier, trees, and a whole bunch of stuff going up, just like the hospital's going to do to kind of create a barrier between the residents and the industry aspect. So there is a plan going forward. It's not like you're going to look at your yard and see a battlefield every single one.
So you've seen the plans?
Yeah, I was going to say I have a copy I can bring into the next meeting. I'll be happy to show you what the plan.
Yes,
I'd
like
like
a
to see it as well.
5-year
But again,
plan, or?
This is not. The problem is this is a rendition and it's not a finalized thing. So I would have to make sure it's okay with him to offer these plans because again, it's not the final copy, and I don't want you to leave thinking this is what you're going to get, and then it goes from fencing to a tree line, from tree line to a concrete wall. You know,
Has he expressed when he might be approaching the planning board to start the process?
no, not this time. Anybody else?
I do. Sorry, it's my first board meeting. Do I make copies? Do you guys want a copy of it?
Please, why not?
I'm a little nervous. I'm sorry. I'm not great at public speaking.
Don't be, it's just us.
And I did a quick speech. Good evening. Thank you for letting me be here. My name is Megan Neal. I'm a prevention service coordinator with Delaware Opportunities. And I'm also just a small town person with a big love for popcorn in the community. I'm here tonight to ask for support for a project I've been working on called Small Town Big Screen. It's a summer movie night series I'd like to bring to Austin Lincoln Park in July of August of next summer, 2006. It's a simple idea, a field, a screen, a movie, and a bunch of neighbors. No ticket prices, no streaming passwords, just people showing up together. I want this to be one of those things kids remember, like I saw Sandlot in the park with my mom, or that night where the fireflies were everywhere. But to do that, I need a blessing to use the park one night a week during the summer. We'll handle everything from equipment cleanup to volunteers, and even like overly excited band who quotes every movie line out loud. That's a freebie. This project means a lot to me, not just because it's part of my leadership training, but because I believe in the power of small things done with love. Someone once said, you can't change the whole world, but you can start with your block, your town, your park, your people. And that's how the world changes. So I'm hoping we can start here.
So Maggie, tell me, you want to play it in the outfield?
What?
You want to play it on the outfield?
Yes, I read the paperwork of the places you can rent. But it's going to be free admission. I really want to bring the community together. I think it's also great for outreach. Delaware Opportunities offers a lot of great services that I don't think people have the opportunity to go to Hampton to get, nor have ways to get there. And I think this would be a great way while we're setting up. I was thinking like 7:30, start the movie around 8:30. That gives us an hour to have people there to promote outreach. Like, times are hard. I just took, seven kids to the movies, and on a discounted day, it was like $45. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. And we can create something that's safe, free, and could bring the community together, but it does have to come at compromising, because I know the park closes at 8, and I don't know what you guys would require. Like, I don't know what else that we would need for you. Like, I've done all the equipment pricing and everything to be able to have it there. I also thought about sponsorships, because licensing for movies is very expensive. It's about $500 for one movie for one night. No wonder Hollywood rolls that money in, right? So I was like, ooh, my budget is only this much, and 7 nights. I did exclude Fair Week because that's a whole. I don't want to take away from anybody else's business, and that's like 2/3 of my budget. So when I thought about sponsoring local companies, allowing them to have marketing on our advertisement, and also for them to have opportunity to come to the park and introduce their business and promote it, and even if they can't do it money-wise, they could come and just, sponsor free snacks, and really get their names out there. And I think that would really bring business to the town and get kids great memories with family and friends.
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Thank you. I literally been like, I'm not gonna lie, I was in my office and I told ChatGPT, I set my thing up and I said, at the end of it, I called her my bestie. I said, hey bestie, is this a stupid way to spend $5,000? No. And it was like, heck no. This is awesome. You're compassionate and you are bringing your community together. But we have to, I wasn't sure because I know the park states 8 o'clock and we would need it. It starts at 8:30, probably till like 9:30, 10. But then I don't know what you guys require in the park. I mean, I got the volunteers, I got cleanup, I got the equipment.
I mean, honestly, you're bringing it to the board, so I would say it's a board-approved recreation activity that brings community together. Me and Chief and I were just talking this morning, I think I was talking to you about it as well. We're talking about, like, one of the issues is drug problems, right?
Oh,
We're talking about the
huge.
community.
Yeah.
So, obviously, we're not gonna fix the people that are already doing drugs. They're gonna just need help. They need to go someplace and work through their demons. But the biggest thing is stopping it at the kids, creating avenues for them to do other constructive things that would create avenues for them to not want to veer towards those meds.
Absolutely.
So this is a great thing, I think.
And actually, I work with, not to cut you off, I'm sorry. I run 2 departments, and one is independent living, and we've been setting up mentorship. And what I think about that is that we can incorporate the kids in foster care to learn how to be part of the community. Like, be there, help mentor, set up, like, teach them living skills. And I think it would be not only affecting the people who come here, but the people who come together to put it together. And the avenue with, I work with behavioral, so they're very angry, chip on the shoulder type of kids. And they're always saying, I'm bored. I'm bored. And I'm like, go outside and catch a frog. I mean, that's what I grew up on, right? And I think this would be great because I think it would give them an
Well, the screen time has robbed them of their imaginary juices, so.
Yeah, well, I'm asking for screen time, so.
It's a little
I'm talking a smaller screen time, but this is a good screen time.
communal screen time.
This is a year out, we're talking. I understand that you need this for planning and getting your resources together to get funding and such.
Right, so I have to present it in a few weeks. So I'm actually thinking, even if I don't get picked for the project, I think that I'm going to continue it on through my budget, working with like foster families. So it might change depending on what, I do have to put a location, so that's what, like, I was excited when Jody was like, oh yeah, it's tomorrow, and I was like, oh. I've been on it, I know it probably takes time for planning, but I don't know.
Maybe the only thing we just have to coordinate with, there's baseball games that sometimes also obviously use the field, so just make sure that those nights don't cross, but other than that, that's the only hurdle I see. But I know the person I push in touch with you that runs
Oh,
that.
fantastic, thank you.
I know it's a year out, but I think, can I get a motion?
What's your motion on that?
And a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
I should be on my cat now.
Anybody else for public input?
Can we get back to the drainage problem again?
Yes, you may.
I don't know, I think, if they do drain over towards the cemetery, that is more or less swamp area. And it goes all the way down to the armory,
Yes.
which is swamp area too. I don't know if that's all gonna be taken care of, so that it does handle all the water. I don't know if it's an uphill ditch or downhill ditch, I don't have any idea. It's like the other one. The other one is kind of uphill. But, I have seen storms in the past where, we got 6 inches of rain. And you know what 6 inches of rain would do over there? Right now, the Doyle's house would be flooded. And, I seen water run right over our yard and running right over towards their place with that 6 inches of water. So I just wanna let that be known too.
We had about 4 last couple weeks ago.
We should have really good drainage to get rid of all that water completely. And that depends on something that might only half work. You know, like, digging up roads and draining towards the river.
Yeah, I mean, I'm open to any other solution. Again, we're working through the legal ramifications of it right now, but again, if there's other solutions that we all understand the issue. It's coming to a solution. So if you have solutions, if somebody else has solutions, please, my door is open. Send me an email if you got an idea. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, any idea is a good idea at this point. So we'll explore it and see what we can do. I mean, whatever we can do to not have a huge burden on the taxpayers, and at the same time, solve the problem at hand. I think that's what we're looking for. But in the end, the idea is to get you drained no matter what. So that's what my plan is.
I mean, what again happens if, all of a sudden he changes his mind, he doesn't wanna have it done down there? Is he gonna bury it again? I don't really feel safe, about doing anything that involves him.
Again, it's the legal aspect that I'm not at liberty to indulge on at this time, but I'm working through it.
I just wanna voice my opinion on that.
No, we respect that, we understand, and we're on the same page, we wanna get this resolved as soon as possible, we don't want you to.
So it works out.
I mean,
That it should.
I would love to get pushy order to say, go take your guys over to the excavators, dig a ditch, and you guys have no more problems. I mean, but that's not the reality today. So
These guys have done a really wonderful job going over there and pumping that out whenever it needs
Yes,
to be
thank you
pumped.
so much to the village for
Really.
pumping us out. Those guys sat there for hours and hours
Yeah, I
doing
know.
that.
Yeah, costs the village a lot of money.
Yeah, and that's
I'm
costing,
sure.
I'm sure the taxpayers tons of money, but they
Yeah.
sit there and do it all day long.
Mhm.
it's better than the
So we do
alternative.
appreciate all that.
I was just going to say that, to say thank you to you for allowing them to do it, and Butch and his crew for being out there. And they always have a smile on their face, and they never complain about being there.
Can you let us know when they don't? Let us know on the
Why, what will happen?
I think they want it resolved.
Turn them upside down, so that way they have a smile again.
Yeah, I think they want it resolved.
No more donuts.
Right now, they probably have to have, a gallon of mosquito repellent, because
Right.
the mosquitoes are pretty nasty with the standing water.
All right. Anybody else for public input? All right. Move on to abstracts.
Get the motion to approve the abstracts.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. All right, department heads. Start at that end.
Yeah, we opened the pool yesterday. It was warm and good crowd, cold water, just like it always has been. Tomorrow night, we got swim lesson signups for anyone that didn't get to go to the school and sign up. They can come tomorrow night from 5 to 7 at the pool, get signed up. The swim lessons start July 14th, and they run for 3 weeks. Arts and crafts also started yesterday. And the ice rink, volunteers from my house moved the old liner and it was picked up by the highway department and gotten rid of. So the old liner's gone. So it looks much nicer with the skate rink without that.
Was it salvageable at all?
No.
Okay, I didn't think it would be.
And right now the pool's open till warm weather, 8 o'clock in the evenings, but it's not a given. It's a rainy night, or there's only a few people, 7 o'clock in there, close to 9. Yeah, not gonna waste money on this 2 people or 3 people being there 7 to 8 p.m. But when swim lessons are on, we will open it still from 7 to 8, and 6 or 7 will be swim lessons at 5 to 6 is adult swim. So we're gonna at least 1 hour in the afternoon, later evening.
What is the minimum that you require for swimmers to quantify your,
If it's, I really don't go with the minimum. If a family comes in with little kids, kind of like, they'll stay, but if it's somebody spending there all day, they haven't gone home, and we're like, come on, it's really, if it's 6 or 7 kids are in the big pool, it's like, really, it's not worth staying open for 6 or 7 kids, even if they've been there all day.
Right.
So,
you look for a balance then?
yeah.
Anything else?
Not for me.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. Ready for my report?
I gotta say, you've had a pretty busy month. I mean, we started off with water main breaks in like every direction of Delaware Street. And then we moved up to Delaware, and then we moved on to flooding issues, and then we moved on to tree cutting. I mean.
He was out on weekends too, I saw him. With a smile.
He don't know about it for sure.
And we're still getting phone calls for washout shoulders of roads that we're still addressing.
I mean, this is the list of everything we did this past month. I mean, those are just bullet points, but I mean, that's a lot.
I also added a number of big saves on there. You see that 30 this month alone.
On top of all that.
On top of it, because they just pop up, so we don't even know, there's no plan for that. You just send me an email, and we'll do another one, maybe do 5 more. So we end up having to take away from other stuff to do those things.
And you maintain the mowing,
Yes, all of them.
all the way over to Franklin Park.
Sure. So, one of the things we need to ask for tonight is, we're going around getting a list of leaking manholes for a company to come in and seal. So I do have a quote to seal 4 of them that I know is leaking. And that quote for that is $27,404. And what they do is they come in, they pressure wash everything, degrease it, they dry it. And it's a 3-step process that you do. It actually gives them a 10-year warranty. We had, I think, 7 done on Liberty Street a couple years ago. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
We had them fixed. A couple of those we had fixed a few years before. It was like $1,000 a hole, and the following year they're leaking it. And so this company here, they're the ones that actually offer it in this area. They do an awesome job. So I would like to permission to do that.
So something that we had budgeted.
Yes.
Make a motion and we authorize Butch to go ahead and do the other manholes. Would you say 27?
27,404.
27,404.
And we'll probably do more throughout the year. We have money in the budget for the I&I issues.
Understood. Like a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, upon inspecting said manhole, one of them, we found that there's a sewer main loop that is plugged solid with cooking grease. It's way too deep, we can't get any of our equipment in there, we're not certified for that. The company who does the manholes also does jetting and cleaning, so they can come down, but the price to do that, it's like one of the main chunks, $6,000 to do that. So,
It's good.
and that is also money we have for the items, so we use for that.
Is that also billable to the individual?
It's very possible, something the board we can discuss and look into it. I actually spoke to the business owner, or not the owner, I'm sorry, the manager, and I informed him that they may be responsible to pay for that repair. And he's also supposed to let me know when their company comes in to clean the tank that's in the parking lot for the grease.
Yeah.
That is overflowed and has created this issue.
Now, this process moving forward, do we give them a time frame for them to take care of it? And then if they don't, we take care of it at a cost? Can we go that route, or is that, Jody, is that something we could do, or is that not a possibility?
So I think what's gotta happen, it's just been brought to my attention actually through Zach, that that's something that we're supposed to be expecting, apparently these grease traps. So this one here, he says they do it every 6 months, so I'm gonna start asking him for all these records, so I can keep a binder and keep every shop, so we have it on file. He's supposed to let me know when they come. They're supposed to be here at the end of this month, actually, the money can be done by now. They're supposed to be like, they're scheduled anyway. So I have to get in touch with him tomorrow to see where we stand, because there's no sense of coming down and doing 2 of those manholes until they get that cleaned out and get it checked.
What are the negative ramifications of this current condition? Like what happens if we give them a short time frame to rectify it at their financial burden?
Like I
So
said,
what is it called? Like how did you come to it, just upon inspection or
Yeah, I
other
just had to go-
symptoms, so to speak?
So 2 years ago, we noticed there's a manhole leaking down there, just leaking water. So when I was riding around the other day, we have a leak in that town, so we had to get it clear. So I went down to check that one, because we had to get measurements to get quotes.
Right.
So I went down, just having to pop the manhole to measure it, and we're like, this thing is plugged solid. So it eventually turned into a pretty severe issue.
So moving forward, we're just gonna wait on standby mode till the next meeting and then make a call for there. Okay. But just putting the word out for them.
Yep.
Understood. Anything else, Bush?
The only other thing I have is I have some surplus equipment coming up pretty soon. From what I understand, the new truck is on its way. And the mini excavator we ordered is also at the dealership, when to get it, so I'd like to, when they get here and actually get them actually in service, I'd like permission to advertise and sell the surplus.
Any motion?
Second.
I need a motion.
Make a motion that we acknowledge the surplus.
Jacob, I take your second this time.
And that's all I have.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Before I let you go, Butch, on to the next one, a couple things. One, Zachary Gressler, they had a field day at the school last week for the 5th graders, I think it was, the 5th graders, I believe. And they really enjoyed the night before where the fire department came out and they raised their ladders up and sprayed the kids, stuff like that. And it actually started a trend, if you haven't noticed that, like
It's on all the.
Unadilla, everybody's doing it now. So anyways, if he hadn't given the okay to use the hydrant over there, this would have never happened. And I think we started something that's probably going to be a long tradition probably for years to come. So I hope your person takes your place.
As long as we're not a drug condition.
Yeah. But this is a picture of it, and this is a thank you to Butch for allowing them to use that. I think that's a pretty cool thing. That's that right there. That's a small town vibe if I haven't seen one. So
For sure.
but thank you, Butch, for
That's
that.
awesome. I heard a lot of good things about that.
So
Just a couple quick updates, on the water stuff, I guess what's active, we're working through the lead service line inventory. And Butch and his team have put a lot of effort going through a lot of the historic records. We've got 400 or 500 properties that we don't have records on that, we need to go through inspections on. So initially, we look to go knock on doors and check where the water comes in, water line comes into the basement to confirm what the pipe material is. If it's copper, great, that kind of scratches them off the list. If it's another pipe material, then we know that, and that puts us on the list for needing to be replaced, so. Over the next month or so, we'll be looking to start those inspections, we'll coordinate, with DPW, and let the board know. But it'd be likely somebody from our office, with credential on and that type of thing. It wouldn't cost anybody anything, it would take 2 or 3 minutes, just to go in and basically, like I said, check where the water line's coming through the basement wall and see what pipe material is.
May I ask you just a quick question? So you have a list of homes that you anticipate asking?
Yep.
Is this something that would get you benefit from public notice of?
Yeah, it'll be basically the houses that we sent letters to last fall. So that was kind of a starting point, so we can do an additional outreach.
Could I put it on Facebook?
Yeah.
And just put your face on there so people know you're coming to?
Will
I mean,
it be you though?
You'll be knocking
we
on
can put a
doors?
friendly face with it even if it's not
Yeah,
yours.
we'll get work with you guys to get a notice out so people are more aware of it.
If you see this minute.
He's okay. Okay.
Yeah, we'll make one of our guys Facebook famous.
Love that, let's do it.
So, yeah, we want to make sure we do outreach and people know it's a legitimate thing and whatnot, but, that'll be coming up. We do have one ask of the board tonight, on the pool project, we have the design completed, that's in the health department, as of the Oneonta district, approved it, and that goes to Albany, we're getting their sign off, but we would like to get, board authorization to go to bid with the construction work, for the project, so we're going to get the notes on paper, we're going to find contractors, so we can get bids in, and the goal would be to do a bid opening and have, that presented to the board at the August meeting, to get a contract.
You got a motion for that?
Make a motion that we authorize the clerk to advertise for bids for pool project.
Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. That's all we need to ask for. And we got the, they're making public notice of the 500K like you just talked about.
Yes,
That's in the news everywhere now.
yeah, it's, become a big thing in the state, that's passed a lot of regulations on it, so, it's a little bit of a target, but, I'll try to protect public health.
Good deal, thank you. Chief, you're up.
Good evening, everyone. You guys received my report.
Yes.
Any questions or comments on that?
You've had a busy month as well. Going back to your Butch, I apologize, but this is in collaboration with the police department. I know that we talked about painting the streets where the stop signs are, put the markers back down. We're gonna try to work on that, just because, I was on Townsend today and the guy just blew right through the sign right down through. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know, shy of bringing a snow stake out there and start whacking them and really reminding them to stop signs, but.
Yeah, the line would help, with blinking, stop signs that we're gonna get, that would help.
Well, most. Where are we with the blinking stop signs that
We have them in the shop,
okay.
we just gotta get time to install them, so we're gonna put them, one up at Yolo. We're gonna be down on Mead Street, so both of you, if you're coming down.
Yeah, they go to that
We have one
all the time.
on order for the top of the hill here. The 21.
No, I only have a first two.
Is there a speedometer one? Did we approve that?
We didn't, I got quotes. Okay. I don't remember where we're at, but I have one of those.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. Just one highlight towards middle of June, beginning of June, we were asked to do a traffic detail at Stockton and Maple Street. The school bus is going to have issues with coming down Stockton, so we provide traffic control at Stockton and Maple, and they've had to move the buses along.
We got other village quite nice, I appreciate it.
Yep, so we were happy to help with that, and it didn't take very long, I think 10, 15 minutes tops,
If
so,
that, just enough to get us through time, it worked really good.
yeah, so it worked out pretty good. So yeah, just one ask, there's a training for background investigations for police applicants, it's gonna be held August 28th and 29th in Oneida. I just recently went to a training for recruiting and law enforcement. They put up good training up there, and I would like to attend that. Get the permission now.
Cost associated?
I'm sorry.
Is there a cost associated?
There is a cost, the tuition is $445. It's like a day and a half training. So.
And that's budgeted, right?
Yes.
I'll make a motion that we allow them to go on the training. What was the date again, Chief?
August 28th and 29th.
28th and 29th.
Second on that? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Carry.
Butch, did you want to talk about your policies for your leave and your?
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Do you want it?
So yeah, so brush and limb pickup pretty much remains the same. Policy's been 4 foot lengths and bundling. the string or twine and put them near the street, not in the street or on the sidewalks. I had you guys up today trying to clean up before the 4th of July weekend, and we have messes of bundles of just crap. Like nobody is paying attention to what we say or nothing like that. So typically what we do in that case is we'll leave it there until they get a call. A lot of times we put these in their mailbox in the door and ministers should go get them. So there's that one, and the other one was we like to do, we've been discussing also going to biodegradable bags for pickup, so we're not messing around with plastic and razor blades. And, so we like to do that effective immediately, and then, we'll have, obviously, it's gonna take a while for everybody to get used to it, so it's not like we would not pick anything else up until everybody gets used to buying things. And they're available at least everywhere they do something.
May I ask you a question as well?
Sure.
Similar to the question I asked him, is that something you need publicly disseminated via social media?
It would definitely help probably put it on Facebook.
Got it.
Got
Is that this guy?
Got it.
This guy just wants to be on Facebook. I'll see that.
Put Rich's face on
No.
Go along with that, it'd be very nice if,
And then we're
You want me to give them if there is, whether you like it or not?
You can do the theater report if you want.
I was gonna say, to go along with what Butch was talking
Oh, yeah.
about, pick it up and clean up, not the
Give me one,
streets.
I'm moving on to that.
People, need to remember not to blow your grass out in the street. I mean, it's, not only does it look like,
Especially if we come through with the street sweeper.
yeah, exactly, we've taken the time to clean the streets up, and to have people come around through and mow and blow everything out into the road. If you do, I mean, I mowed lawn for years, I've blown it out in the road. Go back through with your mower and blow it back off the road when you're done, just don't leave it there.
It also plugs up the storm sewer.
Plugs up the storm drains, yeah.
Slippery for motorcycles.
So, not sure, but I think that's a law too.
It is.
It's a finable law. Yeah.
You're all good, chief?
I'm all good, thank you.
I'll jump on the theater after I get done with the Village of Walton code enforcement officer. I got his report right here. This past month, he did 6 building permits, fire safety inspections, he did 9, complaints received 10, orders of remedy 4, notice of violations 11, bonds that required voting was 3, which is great because that's a lot for the amount of rain we had and only 3 violations. That's really good. He's really getting out there and cranking out all aspects of his job. He's doing a good job. He just wasn't able to be here tonight. But that's all he had in his report. So we'll move on to theater.
We're slowing down a little bit with Music on the Delaware not performing, but let's see, on the 17th, we've got the Classic Flicks, which is going to be American Graffiti. We're going to have a car show out front, hopefully. We had a very successful public meeting in the theater. The power outage in the middle of it brought to my attention that we could use some better emergency lighting. So that's in discussion to try and at least get the aisles that are better emergency lighting. There is a display in the lobby of the new type of LED performance lighting that we're looking for, that we're working towards, and some of the old lighting so people can get a better idea. We should have heard recently within the past couple of days about another major grant, but we've not heard yet. We are still doing some fundraising. This display will go over to the fair as well. Taggart Electric's been in doing some work on moving the time clock for the bell, so it's, you don't have to climb the ladder to get to it, and some other projects. So.
And you got Jurassic Park coming out this weekend.
Yeah, it starts tomorrow. That should be a great.
So you're starting on Wednesday?
Yes, they normally start on Friday, but with this show, they decided to start with a Wednesday matinee.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah, because we're expecting large crowds. So.
I think it's atypical for movies to come out on Wednesday, but this one is, which is weird.
Yeah, and I think that's part of it too, because it's opening day.
Right.
And the other thing I was going to suggest is, if we can be of assistance.
I was actually gonna stop you from the meeting. So
Somehow, RSS and Chris Holland over there has years of experience in booking movies and getting the movies and that kind of thing. So if there's some way we can help, I'd be happy to talk to you about it.
Thank you.
Because I think it's a great project, and having it up at the park is neat. And it's not competition for us per se. I think it's different. So
Why don't you bring one of your displays down for Freedom Fest?
It'd be kind of hard to move that, and there's needs
too
of
big.
electricity,
Understood.
and there's a dimmer pack, and there's lots involved. I mean, if you stop in and see it, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's like 12 lights hung, so. And I'm not sure if the theater and Music on the Delaware is gonna be down there. I don't remember hearing if we were gonna be there. We're gonna be there for the Historical Society. Oh, and Amanda has left, but she deserves a great deal of recognition for the success of Porch Fest.
Correct.
It was a fabulous event, even though the weather didn't cooperate, we still had hundreds of people in town. Everybody I've talked to has said it was nothing but positive, comments, so I think it was, and we're already talking about next year, so.
I think that it went off great. I mean, the weather wasn't really cooperating, but I mean, just the way the community's really been coming together over the past couple months, it's been fantastic. And I look forward to seeing what the future brings as well. I think it's a fantastic thing. And I do want to go back to what you initially stated about the public hearing at the theater. That was, I think we all appreciate the fact that with the amount of people we had there, as air conditioned as it was.
Nice to have a facility like that, we could do something like that.
Yeah, and anytime you need it, just give us a call. We'll be happy to help out in any way we can. And one nice thing is, if we do get the LED performance lighting, we'll be able to light the stage up for you. Right now, we can't do it because it costs us quite a bit of money just to turn on the three-phase power for the old ones. That's not gonna be the case with the new lighting system. It'll just be a couple of buttons and you're lit up.
The only drawback that I would say in a public hearing is that it was difficult. They could hear us, but we couldn't hear them, aside from coming up to the microphone. And I guess there was.
I think it's more a question, people have to be told, you gotta eat that microphone in order to be heard.
Absolutely.
Because we even had difficulty hearing you folks sometimes. I was in the back. If you're not right on top of that microphone, you can't talk back here.
Understood.
And maybe it's a demonstration at the beginning of the public comment. This is where you need to talk, something like that.
Thank you again.
You're welcome.
However, I do have one comment. Superman better be going in there. My 8-year-old self would be very angry if it doesn't show up at the theater. All right. Anybody else for wastewater? Wastewater. No.
Shane.
I'm not going to try to remotely discuss that.
It started at 5.
Abstracts? Or not abstracts, the trust reports, I'm sorry.
They talk about stuff, I don't talk about everybody.
I don't have anything, everything's looking good for this weekend.
Do you want
A
to say?
plus, something different.
We didn't have to make a motion on nice weather, it's a good thing. Go ahead. I'm sure you'll cover
Excuse me, Aaron.
Yes.
Is it still possible to talk about public, they thought the meeting started at 6 instead of 5. Is it possible that they say anything still or not?
Certainly.
I would just like an update. I know it's raining. I know you can't put a machine out there. But are we still working on it? I heard you had to have a permit now. Is that true?
That's part of the legal process that we're working through right now.
Legal process, so okay, we don't know how long it's gonna go on.
It's not in my hands right now. We're working through it the best, as fast as we can. I promised you initially, when we talked in April to now, I am doing everything I can to make this happen. And every turn I take is something else that I'm working on.
Well, no offense to what you're trying to do, but I heard these same things last year. We're working on it.
I didn't realize how slow politics worked until I actually worked in politics, and I realized this is the slowest version of slow. So I am doing my best because I am trying to put a puzzle together of pudding, and it's very difficult. And I promise you, if I could go over there and dig this ditch right now to solve all your problems, I promise you I would, but I can't. So I'm working on it.
Did you know that the hospital rep was over there looking at it?
Yes, they are looking at it. They haven't purchased it. They haven't moved forward with anything on that. They're just coming up with ideas for future endeavors.
I talked to him. He
Okay.
doesn't like the idea of where the water lays.
Okay.
might hold that up.
Again, like I said, we're in a situation right now where I don't have the liberty to divulge everything at this point, but I'm working on it.
So the sale of Kaiser Field to the hospital has not gone through yet?
Correct.
I'd like to have a say too. This has been going on over 2 years.
Yes.
We've been in our home here for at least 53 years, never had a problem before. This has gone on and on and on. And I hope when it all gets said and done, that you do something to at least beautify Cherry Street and Guild Avenue. It's not only to beautify, but the noise is very bad too. And I'm sure it affects all the residents over there in that area. I sure think it would be cheap enough for a company to put in some trees and bushes and beautify it, especially with the new hospital coming. So I've had my say. Thank you.
That being said, ma'am, just so you know that there is plans to, as I had said earlier in the meeting, that there is plans to make things nice and look nice, so it doesn't look like a battlefield, as I said earlier. So what that looks like and what the final end result is, I don't know at this time. I have ideas, I have concepts, I have drawings, but nothing that has been set in stone to this time. I can show you something if I get the permission of the people doing the projects, of what their intentions are. But again, I don't want to give you false hope and tell you this is what it's going to look like, and then it looks like, a concrete wall barrier or something like that. I don't want to lead you down a road of deception. So I want to make sure I have facts that I can present to you that is what it's going to look like 100%.
Are you aware that I talked to Jim Clinton. Are you aware he's blaming the village?
I'm sure there's a blame game, but we're working on it. So.
I assure you, we're in contact with Mr. Frainer. We're aware of the situation in very specific detail.
Do you have anything else? I don't want
I had one other quick question I didn't think of. Has there been discussion of curb cuts and access to the parking lot off of Bush Ave or Cherry Street for the hospital? And increasing the traffic pattern on our streets? Or is it all gonna come through the hospital current property?
It's coming from the front.
Okay.
There's not going to be anything. I believe it also violates your HSA, if I remember correctly, right? If there's an agreement over this, so they can't do anything of that nature on those streets as well.
Correct.
Yeah. So you guys are covered.
Thank you.
I mean, they wouldn't stop using the street.
Right. But I'm saying as far as an access point to the hospital, no. At least that's my understanding. However, again, this world
I know,
is
planning's gotta
changes
go
every
through
5
all that,
minutes.
but-
So, like I said, I'm building a building with pudding, so I'm trying to. All right, I have some small things here, and then
Another
yes, sir.
question too. Now that we're, talking about it again, there isn't any, Rainer's not trying to get a roadway up to Camp Avenue. He's not trying to do that anymore.
Again, I'm not at liberty to say because I'm not Mr. Frainer. I don't know what his intentions are or what the plan is as of yet. But once we know and it becomes public knowledge, I'll make sure that you know.
Have you heard of that though? Has that been mentioned
I
in the
have
village?
I have not heard of that.
We heard, I guess.
No. So,
Are you aware that I own the street to like from where my house is? Cherry Avenue extended to Camp Avenue. Are you aware I cut that off? You can't use that anymore?
I asked you for documentation, and you gave me a bunch of documentation that had nothing relevant to that street. If you
I
had some,
have the deed if you want to show it from the lawyer.
if you could bring that, that would be helpful, and then we could go from there.
They can't use it, and the village can't either unless you ask me, because I would let you on there if you want to put the drainage.
Right.
I would let you on there.
I appreciate
But
it.
I'm saying, but it's dead land right now, I own it.
The problem is that is a piece of the puzzle that we need. There's a bunch of pieces here that we need. But if you could bring me that information, that would be helpful. At the same time, I need to get all these parts together, working together. So, like I said, I'm working on it. I'm doing the best I can.
Okay.
Like I said, politics. The slow version of slow. Does anybody else have anything? I don't want to cut anybody off. No. Moving on, mayor's report. We spoke to Glenn Nealis today, Zach and I did, and they're gonna be moving, we asked them to resolve the foundations that are sitting there vacant and empty and try to get them taken care of before we have an event. So they're gonna go over there and put up snow fence, which is the orange barrier fence, 3 feet off of each one of those foundations, and they're gonna.
She's talking about the property up at Sheffield Ponds. Sheffield Estates. Sheffield Estates, excuse me. Yeah, I just,
Not the pond.
excuse me, you're right, Sheffield Estates.
Yeah. So Sheffield Estates behind the depot, gym over there, behind packing heat in that area. There's a series of foundations that are just left vacant and they filled with water, so they agreed to go over there and put snow fence around them at 3 foot barrier off the foundations to eliminate any risk of anybody going in there falling in there. If they do fall, they'll fall in the face, not in the foundation. So I just want you to know if anybody sees them over there, that's what they're doing until further advancements can be taken care of to remedy these situations. Crosswalks, there was conversation about crosswalks coming into play. We're working with DOT on it. This is another situation where it's going to take a lot longer than just slapping down some stickers and putting a crosswalk in. There's a whole lengthy process that has to go into this, but we are working on it. That's been asked for 2 crosswalks, one on Stockton and one on upper Delaware towards Speedway. So we're working on that as well. I have a request here from Mom, which is Mind Over Met. They're doing a walk and run on July 5th, and they're requesting for a police escort from the fairgrounds to Water Street for their mom walk, which starts at 9 a.m. So I guess I would probably need a motion for police to help them out with that.
What day of the week is that?
Saturday.
And have you got somebody regularly scheduled on shift at that point, or would that require an extra manpower?
We're good with Steve, and we're gonna get some fire police stuff.
Okay.
So I don't need a motion.
Get you guys high visibility.
I mean, if that helps, I'll be happy to help. I'll borrow Dane's.
So do we need a motion for that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If there's already a plan, that's great. We don't need to cut off any streets or anything, right?
Well, yes,
We do.
temporarily, as the roads go through, it's gonna come, you're gonna do a loop on the fairgrounds, as they come up Fair Street. You're gonna go South Street to Stockton, and then Bridge Street, so we're gonna need someone there. And then when we go to Bridge Street, we have to left off Water Street, the person there. People to keep the south on track.
So we need a motion to allow that to happen, is that correct?
For
For the street closures and using the streets for.
We don't need to do a permit for that, do we, Jody? I know it's short notice.
It's too late,
Yeah.
there'd never be time
Time to do it, so we. Yeah. I make a motion that we go ahead and allow them to do it, I guess. There's no other way to do it.
All right, can I get a second on that?
Yeah, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried.
Hopefully I get your response back and things figured out.
Past couple of months, we've had a lot going on, everything from the cleanup, street cleanup. I know I referenced Dana a minute ago with the vest, but he was very proud of getting that vest and helping out. Everybody got vests that day, so that was a really cool thing. Going forward, we went to the Porch Fest, which was amazing. We had a lot of turnout for that. That was really cool. And now we're coming into the Freedom Fest, which is this coming Saturday. I just wanted to go over the events real quick, and then in closing for today, and then go from there. The Friday the 4th to the 6th. Is it Thursday we start with the yard sales?
Yes.
Third.
Thursday.
Thank you. 3rd to the 6th is village-wide yard sales. Jurassic Park is playing at the theater. On the 5th, Red, White, and Move with Mom at the fairgrounds. starts at 9 a.m. and then also at 9 a.m. is the kids. 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. is the kids events in the green space down behind Family Dollar. There will be a whole bunch of fire department events, firematics, bucket brigades, dodgeball, a bunch of things that offer prizes and quality prizes for kids, so they're not just candy and garbage that get thrown away. 11 to 1 is going to be the event setup, and then at 1300, 1 o'clock, the event starts that day. We got a whole handful of food trucks, which I'll post online that you guys can see. A whole bunch of different vendors will be down there. It's going to really be, I think, a really full space down there with people walking around. Also going to restaurants that are all going to be offering specials that day. Fireworks are going to be shot off from Moore Park. So this is really going to be a huge community thing that I think is going to be great. Live music is going to be playing at 6 o'clock that day at the pavilion down there. When the fireworks go off, there's going to be a DJ doing music with a laser light show and fog and stuff like that. So it's going to be really cool for everybody. And there's going to be a dunk tank with local officials. So.
No, I'm not doing it.
Jody, you're number one on here. But Butch said he would do it and still smile.
Yeah, still smile. There should be snacks afterwards.
So, anyways, mechanical bowl. We have Ostrog setting up down there. Fire department's gonna be doing 2. Actually, why don't you talk about that? Tell us what.
Don't tell me I'm the wrong guy. I just sit at the top of the table. I got people that do work for me.
I'm sure you've seen this before. 2 fire department displays at 1400, 1800, 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So they'll be going on that day as well. So get to show off their cool tools. Big thing that I want to make sure it's known in this event is this is not something that's supposed to be taking business away from Walton. This is supposed to be supporting business in Walton. I would love to see all the restaurants, all the stores that we have that are open that day also get foot traffic in them as well. So it would be nice to see this turn into a huge community thing as opposed to just something that's focused down there and these people come into our village and leave with the money they made.
I think at one point you asked the local restaurants to all have some tables outside.
Correct.
Has that been happening, or are they planning on doing that? And I'm only asking because I went through Delhi today and I see most of their places now have a few tables
Isn't that
outside
nice?
as well. So I was just hoping you could run into some luck with that.
So I've talked to Grandma D's, I've talked to the diner, I've talked to Denny's over here. I've talked to Packing Heat. Packing Heat has their patio in the back that they do their setup there. The diner has a little bit of an issue because right in front there they have the handicap spaces. So I would hate to see somebody sit at their picnic table and somebody gets gas instead of break. Then you also have Grandma D's who can split the sidewalk and put something there. So it's really been left up to them whether or not they want to do it. I've pushed them to try to do it. So whether they do it or not, I don't know. I know they're working on their own little niches to try to.
It was about 1:30 when I went through there, and just about every place had, a person or two outside, so that was nice to see.
There's nothing more inviting than outdoor seating.
Right now, the weather looks like it's gonna be good.
It'll be good for Butch in the dunk tank. He doesn't like getting rained on before he gets wet.
Before he gets wet.
I'm taking money out of the bank tomorrow.
Perfect.
For Jody.
Do that one. We went from 10% to 15% with the CRS verification, and we got the official letter. So this is for the floodplain and people that have flood insurance. So this will help out a lot. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Just right. So on the meeting with some good news. More good news. That's all I got.
Those are the Halloween trees.
I need that paper, Jody. I don't have it.
Yeah, there's some shortage of that on those trees.
Chief leads the parade.
The school is requesting assistance in closing the streets along the normal parade route for the annual Townsend School Halloween Parade on October 31st, beginning at 1:30. Route will be right out of the school driveway, turn left on the Mead, left on the Townsend, left on the Delaware, left on the Gardner, and then back to the Townsend School. So I need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve that parade route.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Carried. Sorry, I almost missed that.
Yeah, the only other thing is to approve the court audit that you invested.
Okay, yeah, motion to approve the court.
I sent it to everybody tonight.
I don't.
Okay. You can wait then.
So,
Understood.
everybody was the email, sorry for the.
That's it.
Nothing like that.
Should I get a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Carried.
Thank
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you.